So Nintendo just released their latest Nintendo Direct, and honestly, it was one of their better Nintendo Directs during this generation, as they had plenty of really cool announcements, and I really want to talk about some of them because, wow. So I think it's very appropriate to talk about the very first one, which was the fact that they finally revealed Metroid Prime 4. It's honestly surreal seeing actual gameplay of this for the very first time after so many years of this game being in development hell. Like, it was only revealed in 2017 as a logo, but 2 years after it got completely restarted by scratch, with Retro Studios working on it. But even then, despite that, Metroid still had a really good life during this Switch while we wait for Metroid Prime 4 with Metroid Dread and the great Metroid Prime remaster. With the latter being one of the most technically impressive games on Switch, and Metroid Prime 4 seems to be no exception. So I'm very curious on how the story of Metroid Prime continues, especially since based on the trailers it seems like Silex is going to be the big villain this time. Especially after nearly 2 decades of it being teased. Alright, so for the next one, this is a pretty small one, but Donkey Kong Country Returns is getting a remaster on the Switch. This one especially took me by surprise because I never thought I would see another re-release of Donkey Kong Country Returns, especially since this was already an enhanced port on 3DS. However, based on what I'm seeing, it seems to be suffering the same trappings of Luigi's Mansion 2, where it's like, yes, you see enhanced graphics here and there, but it's not really a big jump, if you know what I mean. Especially compared to the previous remaster from a Retro Studios game. But despite that, I still think this is going to be the definitive way to play Donkey Kong Country Returns, as this game will most likely follow the same patterns of the previous Donkey Kong games, where it's all button-based instead of the weird motion controls with the Wii. Plus, you get the additional content from the 3DS version at 60 FPS as well. But as for these two games, the first one is The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Now, when it comes to 2D Zelda game, we haven't had a full original one since A Link Between Worlds. Other than that, it was mostly just spin-offs and a remake. And with the latest one, they have the biggest shakeup in the series where instead of playing as Link, you're going to be playing as Zelda. Which is something the series has never done unless you count the god-awful CDI games. So yeah, for the very first time you actually get to play as Zelda in a Zelda game. And that's even reflected in the game itself, as since you're not playing as Link, Zelda has her own type of abilities. Where instead of using just a sword, she has a magical staff, which fits her really well. And since you're not really going to be attacking them head-on and such, you're going to be thinking outside of the box how you can deal with enemies. Very similar to something like in Tears of the Kingdom. But instead of building contractions, you can summon any object you want to try and solve a puzzle with. Which can lead to very interesting ways how you can access through a puzzle, like in one section of the trailer where they use a bunch of beds to build a staircase. All I can say is that I am very excited to try out this game. And as for Super Mario Party Jamboree, I'll be completely honest, when I saw the Super Mario Party name on it, I had immediate lore flashbacks to 2018 with the original Super Mario Party. But after they actually showed the game, I'm actually very sold on this. Nintendo is promoting this game as the biggest Mario Party game ever, and based on what I'm seeing, it's probably going to be living up to that promise. As not only it's going to be going back to the same character roster as Super Mario Party with about 20 characters, they actually have a good amount of boards in this game instead of just having like 4 or 5 boards in the previous games. With 5 of them being original and 2 of them being remakes of the N64 games. And based on the trailers for the original boards, I like how they're going back to the GameCube Mario Party boards, where they're going to be very expansive with different paths. Like in one of the boards, you're traveling through a mall. And I also like how, similar to Mario Party 7 and 8, each of the boards will have their unique rules. Like how in one of them, you're actually driving in small little go-karts around a racing track. We still need to wait until this game released to have a final judgment on how these boards will play, but based on what I'm seeing so far, this might end up being one of the best Mario Party games in the series. Which just really shows how much of a big comeback the series has started when the Switch came out. And man, speaking of great comebacks, Mario and Luigi Brothership, I'm just gonna show you my live reaction and see how I feel. What? 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 Oh! Oh! A new Mario and Luigi game. Mario and Luigi is back! after 8 years of nothing of a new entry, we finally got one on Nintendo Switch. I was honestly completely speechless with this one, as the Mario & Luigi series is my favorite Mario RPG series of all time. I still remember the day my cousins gave me a copy of Bowser's Inside Story for my birthday. So when the news came out of Alpha Dream going bankruptcy in 2019, it was pretty much unknown where the series was going to go forward. And after 5 years after that happened, we finally got our answer. Which honestly makes me curious on who will be the developers of this game. I heard ramblings that it might be Monolith Soft, as according to some research, after Alpha Dream went bankrupt, a lot of staff members from Alpha Dream migrated to Monolith. Which is something that happened similar with Hudson Soft after they got dissolved into Konami. Before that, a lot of staff members from that studio migrated to NDQ. But my god, whoever is actually going to be making this game, they really knocked it out of the park. I really love the new cel-shaded art style for this game. The Mario & Luigi series always have these pronounced chibi-like styles from the Mario Brothers, and they were translated beautifully well in full 3D. It's honestly a really nice evolution of the 3D models you would see in the 3DS games, which is also reflected really well with the gameplay itself, as it truly looks like a nice evolution of the series. As the areas the Mario Brothers are traveling through feels a lot more massive than the previous games. And the animations that they do in this game look phenomenal. I really dig the squash and stretch style. And Kevin did a really good job voicing the Mario Brothers in this trailer. I especially love how well he replicated the trademark gibberish style with this game. Especially with Luigi when he's just bubbling around getting freaked out by the bees. Which I'm glad that the comedy aspects of the Mario & Luigi games are still here. And not only that, but I'm also glad that they have so much original characters in this game. And based on the synopsis Nintendo gave us, we seem to be going through different islands that have their unique characters. With the characters in the trailer Nintendo showed us are based on electrical components. Especially with the new companion Mario & Luigi is with, which means that Starlo is most likely not going to be in this game, which I don't really mind too much because starting with Paper Jam, it just felt like Starlo was only just there as the voice of the characters. So I'm all for with this new pig-like character. And I'm very curious on how the story of this game is going to unfold. But another thing too is that it's honestly very crazy that with the past 3 Nintendo Directs, they kept giving us more Mario RPG stuff. Which honestly makes sense if you really think about it. With the Nintendo Switch, it's mostly known to be very popular with RPG games. And because of this, it would make sense why Nintendo would revive multiple Mario RPG series. As with the first half of the Switch era, the RPG side of Mario has pretty much been drained, but at the near end, it came back at full swing, ending things off with Mario & Luigi's first ever console entry. And all I can say is that Nintendo Direct was very cool, and I hope that Mario & Luigi Brothership sells well. But that'll do for today, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye!